I liked your article about Jokic. It was one of those articles. By the way, do people still say articles, or is that like an old person thing to say?
No, I think no. I think the people stay say
Okay.
that. People still
Oh,
say
yeah.
that.
I mean,
Yeah,
it was a column, you know what I mean? But it just anyway. I liked your
yeah.
piece
No, I got you.
because it was one of those things, as always, well written. But it was one of those where I see your point. I don't agree or disagree. I just thought it was a good point. Does that make sense? Like I didn't have like a hard line stance
Yeah,
either way. It was like I don't care if he does anything else because I think the
and
game's in a
neither
great
did I.
place.
If you think about it,
Yeah, no, it's very
I
nuanced.
didn't
Which
have a
is
hard line stance either.
no, you were like, yeah, it'd be nice. Like he ain't got to do it. He ain't got to be nobody he's not. But it'd be nice if he did because that's what the greats always have done. But I don't know that the game
Hey,
at this point
my
needs that.
oh yes, it does. You mean to tell me
so?
they got a white superstar under their nose and they can't market him?
About
Like,
that.
like
About
this
that.
stays
I don't know
here.
if this has come up or not.
This stays here. Go
It
ahead.
does, but let me ask you something. Because this has come up a few times.
Yes.
Because I went nuclear
Yes.
after he dominated the playoffs. Because I rehashed the whole bullshit conversation that was being had about whether or not that there was race involved, and when he at the time looked like he was about to win 3 straight. He's like and how silly does that shit look now? Like, and not to say that race isn't involved in every
Right.
sector of society, but there are exceptions, and this dude just a bad motherfuckers, and that's simply plain, full stop. He's Larry Bird, except he's bigger. Okay, like when we say a white superstar, like he's not from Fritz Lick, Indiana. Like he's Serbian.
No.
Like I mean, that's not the same thing. He's not white American. And so in the search for the great white hope, I don't know that we're talking about Luka Doncic or Nikola Jokic. Is there a difference? There's a difference to me.
It's a nuanced thing. In some spaces, they just don't want somebody who's black, right?
Sure.
Like that's kind of under and I think the way that he plays endears himself to white people because that's kind of how they see themselves. Intelligent, smart, pass first. You know what I mean? Not relying on the athleticism. They can really, really lean into that because that's all the Hoosier shit that they put out into the world. That makes them feel like, oh, we got a chance. That's
Even
what
he's 7
so, and
foot,
I think that
whatever.
part would
right.
And here's the thing: are we more racist or are we more xenophobic?
We as a nation, as a society, probably both.
Yes.
I don't know. That's a toss up. That's a toss up. Yeah.
So yeah,
but in this instance, I would say we're less xenophobic than we are racist. In this context, I think is what you're getting at. Like if given a choice,
yes,
America will choose racism over xenophobia. Like, which would you rather be today? Like, we'll be racist. Yeah, sure.
I mean, if this is September 12th, you know what I mean? It's a different ball game. You know what I mean? If it's the day after 9/11, then of course we're going to be more one thing than the other. But in a general sense, I don't have a problem with white people identifying with Jokic, mind you. I identify with Jokic. That's a bad motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like, ain't no shade to that. But
I think he's just a great player.
But you mean to tell me the league can't? Here's the thing: the league can't ride LeBron and Steph's back forever. Them dudes gonna get old, and we've clearly shown that we can't depend on Ja.
But see, here's the thing: I think gone are the days. To me, and maybe it's because I'm so close to it, and to me, gone are the days of somebody to be the face or the torchbearer or to grow the game globally. Like the game grew so much globally that this, pardon the expression, chunky dude from Serbia got drafted in a Taco Bell commercial and went on to be one of the greatest of all time. Like I don't like in your column you pointed out that the tradition of great NBA players from Magic and Bird when the game was when the finals were tape delayed, to Jordan, to Kobe, to even the reluctant superstar that was Tim Duncan. They all played a hand in growing the game. I just don't know that the game needs that. I think the game is enough for it, and maybe that's just for me, but I don't know that somebody somewhere is going to get turned on to the NBA game because, man, Nikola Jokic like did a commercial. Like, if they turn on to the NBA game, they're going to get turned on to the NBA game because of the brilliance of Nikola Jokic or because of the quality of the sport and the fact that it's on all the time. And there's a thing they call NBA Twitter dominating the discourse. And because they want to wear certain shoes. I just don't think that we're at a day and age where it's like, man, you know, if you do this commercial, we'd appeal to more fans. Like, what fans are relying on commercials to follow the NBA?
Here's the thing. You're talking about two segments of people. When you're talking about NBA Twitter, the average 35 to 50-year-old, 54-year-old white man, and I'm not saying it as like white people as a wrong thing. I'm saying that is the ad base that most people go towards, is that 35 to 54-year-old block. They don't know about Twitter, but if they see a commercial, if they're a casual fan, and you just might watch every now and again, you might just tune in, and you know Nikola Jokic is good, but you don't see him. You don't know anything else about him personality-wise. But you see a commercial, even where he says nothing, but there's some level of identification. You're like, oh, that's that guy. So I don't think it's just the game. I don't think it's just the marketing and promotion. I don't think it's just any one thing. I think it's an alphabet soup of everything. And when you're coming up on a new television deal where Adam Silver wants to bring in a certain network with a Peacock and also another network that streams, you need to have all hands on deck as far as how you want to market your game. If you are a star, you need to be out front because they want to have NBA basketball on your TV damn near 7 nights a week. And with LeBron getting ready to leave the game and Kevin Durant being reluctant and Stephen Curry being 35, you can't afford to have great players that people don't know, period. Especially with the money that they're making.
But okay, which brings me to part two. Well said. I do know Nikola Jokic in a weird way.
You do.
It's like, but I think people, I think there's something, but I think there's something endearing and effective about this brand of, nah, I just want to go home and be with my horses. Or, oh man, I'm glad I stayed for this parade. Or like, he has a subtle, dry wit when he chooses to use it. And I don't know that everybody needs to, like, everybody got to play their role and everybody got to have their lane. Right. Certain people are out here marketing, you know, in the commercial space or in the fashion space. Certain dudes, you know, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, for example, you know, is the most stylish guy in the league. GQ's most stylish or whatever. Like, certain dudes, have burner accounts. Certain dudes do interviews. Certain dudes do podcasts the night after the game or whatever. Like, that's just not how he rolls. Maybe his role in growing the game is being awesome and being the Front Street guy, being the old school, I just want to hoop and go home type guy.
But who's the old school? Wait, you just said old school MVP hoop and go home. Yeah, but here's the whole thing. I mean, who's the old school?
But when I say old school, I don't mean it like there's a predecessor that I would point to that was like that. I mean like the shun the spotlight. It's just all about basketball winning. You want to talk about appealing to a certain demographic. Whether it's a racial or an age demographic, I guarantee you that there's a certain segment of the fan base or the population that appreciates a player who is just about ball, who ain't about the extra shit, and who's just great and who shuns the spotlight.
And that's fine.
That's what I mean when I say old school.
And okay, if that's the case, that's fine. Then cut your salary down by a quarter. Because the reason that you are able to make $40 million a year is because people put sweat equity into building the games for you to get that salary that you have. And
I thought that was a great point, that he owed it to his predecessors and the people to follow him. I thought that was a very strong point in your column, that's the way it's been done.
And I'm not saying
you got to give back to the game. Hey, thanks so much for kicking it with your main man, Michael Smith. Be sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel, but also subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Rate it, review it, tell your friends about it. Oh, and be sure to follow me on social media.